Hi guys, this is Deep Basu and I'm going to review. Just hold your breath. I just watched the film Liger. Yes, I finally watched it. I know the movie has received a lot of backlash, criticisms. People have hated the film and it has received a lot of flack. But I finally watched it. Being a voracious consumer of cinema, I wanted to watch. I was pretty intrigued that how bad is this film because Vijay Devakonda is quite a good actor, and I've seen his movies down the south, and he selects good movies. At least the story is good. It's not necessarily every movie is a hit and flops. It's a part of a actor's journey. So I finally watched Liger, and I might sound very absurd, but let me tell you, Liger is I won't say quite watchable. It is watchable. It's not that bad as people are claiming it to be. It's not rubbish or it's not brainless. Well, let me tell you the story of Liger. See, the intention, the director Puri Jagannath sir, his intentions were at the right place. It's a commercial film. It talks a story about a young guy. His name is Liger, and he comes all the way from the south, from Telangana, and he wants to become a MMA world champion. And apparently, his father was also a boxer, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, he couldn't make it big. He couldn't win the final medal. And Liger's mother, played by the very talented Ramya Krishnan, and she's a very feisty woman. She pushes him all the time and she always encourages him. So both of them come all the way from Telangana to Mumbai to pursue their dreams and provide. And by the way, they don't have no money. They're pretty underprivileged. So in Mumbai, they come to know about Ronit Roy, who is quite a very famous, reputed coach. He teaches MMA to young kids, to young boys, and encourages them and helps them to pursue and to get into world wrestling. So they get in touch with Ronit Roy, and since they have no money, Liger decides to help him do some household chores, work as a cleaner, so that that makes up. That's kind of a compensation he has to, because he can't pay the regular fees. So how and by the way, his mother and the coach Ronit Roy makes it very clear to Liger that you need to be focused. The focus is the key. And there should be no distraction, meaning there should not be any girl, there should not be any woman in his life until and unless he wins or he becomes a world champion. Not only the coach, even his mother is pretty clear that women are a distraction. Women will spoil the entire mood, will spoil the ambition, and women are a deterrent. So he has to focus, stay away from women, so that it helps him win the world champ. I think that was quite regressive. I don't know why people were, both of them were quite quite hellbent in portraying women as a distraction. Maybe, I don't know. But it's a Hindi movie, so now enters Pandey, Ananya Pandey, who is a rich brat, spoiled, wealthy, and she apparently is an influencer. And she loves attention. She wants to attract a lot of attention. She wants to create videos, and wants people to accept her as a very famous influencer. And how she gets drawn towards Liger, and both of them fall in love. I think both of them are quite a mismatched couple. How does it happen? I don't know. It's a Hindi film. It's a Bollywood Indian film, so there has to be certain creative liberties. It has been happening all this while. So Liger and Ananya Pandey, they basically fall in love. It just happens. And of course, the mom doesn't come to know. She comes to know much later. And how Liger somewhat, he was initially very focused, and how he starts losing focus. How because of Ananya Pandey, he gets into some unwanted fights. And slow and steadily, this is how the movie progresses. And by the way, Liger's biggest and the greatest inspiration is Mike Tyson. Mark Anderson. His name is in the movies Mark Anderson, played by the legendary Mike Tyson, and he is Liger's greatest inspiration. And towards the end, how he fights him finally. Why he fights him, you need to watch the movie if you want to watch the movie whenever he comes on OTT. So overall, this is the Mota Moti story, and I wouldn't say the intention of the director was bad. After all, Puri Jagannath sir is quite a renowned film director in the South. He was a guy, director who made Pokri. His last hit was Temper. You know, Simba, the movie Simba was a remake of the movie Temper, where you had Junior NTR. So I would say, as a viewer, the intention was at the right place. Is about this guy. He's from the slums. He's underprivileged, and director sir has made him a stutter. He stammers while he speaks. He has, that's one limitation he has. But when he punches, he's unstoppable. And how he wants to become a wrestler, and how from scratch he proves himself, and he has a mother who constantly pushes him. So overall, certain elements, the story, the concept, the plot is not bad. I wouldn't say it's rubbish, but I think Liger only suffers because of its lazy writing. The writing is very lazy. The movie lacks depth. Overall, the entire 2 hour, 19-minute movie only has fighting sequences. The director has not, the writer and the director, I think the director is only the writer, has not much delved into the deep inside the character of Liger, his chemistry, his equation, his internal conflicts. I think the sequences were quite disjointed, and there were a lot of fights. I think they just thought of good visuals and sequences, and they've just stitched it together, not understanding the relevance, not understanding the narrative. Like, it happens most of the time. People, 4 5 people, they think of different sequences and they say, let's stitch it and make it into a movie. That's what has happened here. So if the narrative could have been more interesting, intriguing, Liger could have stood out. It definitely would have stood out. Because somewhere I was thinking that, as a plot, as a one line, I kind of like the story. It might sound absurd, but I think you should watch it. All the film lovers, you should watch it once. I won't say you will like it, but you might like the one liner, might like the plot. But yes, I agree, the writing was lazy, the writing was bad, the characters were underdeveloped. So sometimes I was thinking, what's happening, man? How it sudden change. The climax was very funny. With Mike Tyson was very funny, very absurd, and everything was very rushed. So anyway, this is my review for Liger. So the reason I wanted to record this, I watched the movie because, trust me, it's not that bad. There have been worse movies than Liger, and people have accepted them. I don't know why people are being so harsh. And the only person, I think the 2 people who stood out was Vijay Deverakonda. I think I love him. He's a charismatic performer. He looks good on screen. I think he has performed pretty honestly, and he is the next big thing. My God, he's so effortless. He's so cool. And Ramya Krishnan did a very good job, man. That feisty mother. So these 2, and of course, let's not forget Mr. Ronit Roy. Ronit Roy is a seasoned actor. He's been working for last, I think, 30 years, and Ronit Roy, the sequences with Ronit Roy and Vijay were quite deep, quite hard hitting. So I think those sequences were quite well directed. And overall, Liger, I don't think it does make a difference now. Do watch it once when it's on an OTT. And yeah, I wish Vijay Deverakonda all the best. He's good, yeah. So guys, this is my review for Liger.